What's your name?
Hi, my name is Jean White,
Uh-huh.
and I'm a member of the Christian Science Church in Woodstock.
Great.
And this is a little history of 100 years of the presence of Christian Science in Woodstock. And it just tells you we are now here housed at the Christian Science Church on Tinker Street in the corner of Como, and which was the Summer School of Art Students League years ago.
In 1915?
Yeah.
History of the Art Students.
League, and I came from a periodical called that.
Now,
And,
where is this building?
This is this building, actually.
Oh, really? It just doesn't
And
look
you can
like
see
that.
the windows and so forth.
Okay.
And then going over here is a little bit later picture
So let's
of
see.
it.
In 1909, a small group of earnest students of Christian Science gathered at the home of Mr. and Mrs. Edmund Rolfe on Rock City Road to hold informal church services. In 1912, services were moved to the League Studio Hall, the Summer School of the Art Students League of New York, okay?
And before that, they met in a home, and my mother went to Sunday school over the Fireman's Hall. It's an old building. It's not the one that's there now, but it was right across the street. And I think also they had some meetings in the Nook. That's the Cafe Espresso building, or now the Center for Photography.
Really?
And
this was the Cafe Espresso?
Yeah. See the front.
Wow.
Isn't it interesting how the road seems so much lower now? I mean higher now.
Yeah.
It seemed I think it's the build up. But this little building is where it's actually right next door to this where CVS is. It's actually on the CVS parking lot, I think, property. And that was a building that they built for worship services. And the property was given by George Neer and his wife Josephine. And,
At what year would
and
that be?
that was 1920, because there's a cornerstone or part of one at the Historical Society. And so here it tells about that. And there's a little picture of people coming out of it. And I lived right next door to it. So that's. But anyway, and so that's where they were until they came here to to this present building. And these are a couple of pictures of the interior. We can go in and you could see it. But this is the interior of
And
it.
so this is where Tom Pacheco played.
Yes, that's right. The concert for the benefit of the
Did
Historical
anyone
Society.
photograph that? Do you know? I'll ask
I
Tom.
think Richard Hepter did take a couple of photographs. I don't know if anybody else did. And then in the 60s, I believe, they bought the building next door for the reading room. And of course, when this was the Art Students League, it's pretty much the same. If you look at the front of the building, it's very much the same. I don't think anything's changed, but they did put this wing on, which is for the Sunday school, and also it has restrooms in it.
It's really interesting.
So,
Great.
but thank you.
Yeah.
But
Yet the legacy is clearly here. You can see it in the architecture.
Right.
This was built for this purpose, or the Students'
No, this
League?
was built for the Art Students League.
I see.
And as a studio, and you can imagine, well, actually, there were no pews here until the 60s. A woman who was a summer visitor gave these to the church. But until that time, there were chairs, old chairs that I remembered, like had four joined together, and they put that way. And then they had to move them around when they had a Sunday school.
So it was multi-purpose, huh?
Yes, right.
Divine love always has met and always will meet every human need. That's important for people to know now. And then, ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Christ Jesus. So they don't call him Jesus Christ?
Sometimes referred to that, but Mrs. Eddy feels or said that Christ is like a term for the quality, the truth of what Jesus manifested. Jesus was the human, and the Christ is the divine idea, so that we talk about Christ, truth, blessing our lives.
So when they talk about him human, could that have been some of the run-ins they were having? Remember I said my great-grandmother was a closet Christian Science. She was a Catholic, but she had healings. So
well, it's the Christian Science is based on Jesus healing. One of the statements is that to restore the lost element of healing. That's what Mrs. Eddy felt that Christian Science does.
And that was missing in the mainstream?
In a lot of, I think, they have for over 300 years, I think, after Jesus' passing, that was sort of lost, and so that's what's based on. And also, we use the first chapter of Genesis where God created everything perfectly as a sense of reality. That's the way God created it. But when the second chapter talks about a mist went up, and that mist is the mortal concept of a human being and so on. And that's when we, I think, run into difficulties, and we have beliefs of other powers besides God. So that's just
material powers.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
well, what do you suppose attracted your grandmother?
I think she was interested in the healing, but I also think...
She wasn't the one with polio that
No, that was her daughter.
Her daughter.
My grandmother, I think, felt that God is love. It's a very loving, aspect, philosophy, religion. In fact, this week we have a Bible lesson we study every week, which is also a large part of our Sunday service. And one of the statements says, the vital part, the heart and soul of Christian Science is love. And God is love.
Right. So was it her faith that got her daughter healed of
I think
polio?
that she,
because that's quite
also,
a healing, you told me.
Also working with Christian Science practitioners, people who are people who really have proved through their own experiences and others the effects of prayer and the healing effect of prayer. And it's not a prayer of petition so much. It's a prayer of affirmation of what God has already done. And we all have all of those things available to us.
So when people, because you said before I had the camera on that she had a boarding house,
yes.
And people would come, and so different practitioners would sort of say that this petition of affirmation, maybe it was the community kind of inspired each other that, yes, you can do it, and here's this little sick child with polio.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything like that as connected to the boarding house. I mean, I think it was very private, She was... she didn't have a boarding house to perpetuate.
Oh no, I know that. No, but I meant. I mean, can you describe the healing? Because we did it off camera. You were telling me.
Well, the only things I know are that one aunt was healed of diphtheria, and my mother was healed of what they called infantile paralysis, which is polio. And
how old was she when she was?
It must have. It had to be.
In the 40s?
Somewhere earlier than that.
30s?
Because maybe in the late 20s.
In the late 20s. Because I'm going to look up a little bit more about polio. But already one leg was shorter than the other.
Right.
And yet some healing, a practitioner came along?
Yeah, however, they worked in Christian Science. They worked with prayer, and the healing came. And I don't know, was a big... a revelation, I don't know. But I do know that later, I was talking to some people in town, and they'd say to me, can you dance well? And I said, no, that's not one of my gifts. And they said, well, your mother is a great dancer, So
isn't that incredible? So if she wasn't healed, she would never have been a dancer. Right. She would have been dragging one leg around.
Right. So there were, and those healings that I heard about, but others that I have known about, So anyway, that's, but what is lovely to me is that it works in all aspects of our lives.
Right.
In my case, my father died in an accident when I was 10. I had a sister 5 and a brother 2. And my mother had to make her way with us. There were no material insurances and things like that. So the time came that I would like to go to college. And she sat down on the bed and cried and said, I don't know how you're going to do that. But we worked. We knew that if this is a right idea, this will come to fruition. And Jean, are you willing to work for it? And yes, I am. So I did all the work that I needed to do as far as waiting tables and things like that. And I went to college with not enough money to finish the first year.
Wow.
But people there, it made available to me a grant. And then all the odd jobs that came up anyway, P.S.
Which college?
Pratt Institute in Brooklyn.
Ah.
And so
did you graduate?
Yep, I did.
In what?
Art education.
Uh-huh.
And then, and everything from my life after that, jobs.
So you were brought up a Christian Scientist with this faith. Now, your father died when you were 10.
Right.
Was he a Christian Scientist?
No, he wasn't.
No.
However, he did give me my first Bible and my first Science and Health.
Oh, really?
And he wrote in it, it was February 14th, I think, 1944, I believe.
Oh.
And he also was sort of like the grandmother who was, or great-grandmother who was a closet. He asked for help with a practitioner and had successful healings. I've just heard that.
Oh, that's great.
So,
Right, wonderful.
But anyway, that's...
Do you want to put it on me? I'll just tell you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, just point it at me. I just came in here because I've always been looking to find out what is the Christian Science reading room in Woodstock. My great-grandmother was interested in Christian Science, but she was a Catholic, and they spoke so badly about Christian Scientists that she hid the fact that when my grandfather, he was going deaf, she brought in one of these healers, and her child was cured. So that really makes a difference to a mother, wouldn't you think? I mean,
yes.
I think that's
Certainly.
the acid test.
That's right.
And then my grandmother, when my grandfather grew up, he married a girl from the old country. She was from Germany, and she kind of wanted to sort of lay low on any controversies. But her mother-in-law had kept these books stashed away. And so I think later on when I developed an interest in transcendental meditation, my grandmother already, she was sort of aware that things do happen and you have to be tolerant and not pass judgment and say, oh, this is the work of the devil or whatever. And across the street right now, for those who might be more scientifically minded, at the Woodstock Public Library, there's a wonderful book called The Body Electric by Dr. Robert Becker. And Dr. Robert Becker did some very interesting studies, particularly in the 50s and 60s, on the electromagnetism of the body. And he explained a lot of things that have been considered miraculous healings on a scientific level. So that even this type of faith or prayer or whatever, I was learning about in this community, the people would work together to sort of build up their spiritual energy or maybe build up community so that if one member of the community wasn't feeling that this could really be pulled off, maybe through another community, through kind of a group effort it would happen. And I learned also here that in this boarding house, people would come and go, and as they would come and go, they would share ideas and bring literature, I guess, right, to leave behind?
Leave literature, and that's how she became interested.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then share testimonies of healing experiences, along with remarks and insights gained from individual study and inspiration. We have a public reading room next door at 89 Tinker Street, where you may read and study Christian Science literature. the Journal, Sentinel, and Herald periodicals online. A special Bible section with several translations and commentaries will also be of help. The librarians will be happy to assist you. The reading room is open Monday, Friday, and Saturday from 1 to 3, and Wednesday from 3 to 5. Everyone is always lovingly welcome to our church services and to use the reading room. This being the first Sunday of the month, I'll read from the Manual of the Mother Church, Article 8, Section 1, a rule for motives and acts. Neither animosity nor mere personal attachment should impel the motives or acts of the members of the Mother Church. In science, divine love alone governs man, and a Christian scientist reflects the sweet amenities of love and rebuking sin in true brotherliness, charitableness, and forgiveness. The members of this church should daily watch and pray to be delivered from all evil, from prophesying, judging, condemning, counseling, influencing, or being influenced erroneously.
I am become as
Friends, the Bible and the Christian Science textbook are our only creatures. We shall now read scriptural texts and their correlative passages from our denominational textbook. These comprise our sermon. The canonical writings, together with the word of our textbook, corroborating and explaining the Bible texts in their spiritual import and application to all ages, past, present, and future, constitute a sermon undivorced from truth, uncontaminated, and unfettered by human hypotheses, and divinely authorized. The lesson sermon for today begins on page 20 of the Christian Science Quarterly. Subject, love. Golden text, 1 John. God is love. Responsive reading, 1 Corinthians. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I have become sounding brass, or a clanging cymbal.
And though I have the gift of prophecy, and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith, so that I could remove mountains, but I have not love, I am nothing.
Love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself, is not puffed up,
Does not behave rudely, does not seek its own, is not provoked, thinks no evil,
does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth.
bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things.
Love never fails. But whether there are prophecies, they will fail. Whether there are tongues, they will cease. Whether there is knowledge, it will vanish away.
For we know in part, and we prophesy in part.
But when that which is perfect has come, then that which is in part will be done away.
When I was a child, I spoke as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things.
For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know just as I also am known.
And now abide faith,
hope, love.
these three,
But the greatest of these is love.
The following citations comprise our sermon.
The Bible, 1 John. God is love, and he that dwelleth in love dwelleth in God, and God in him. Psalms. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord, and to sing praises unto thy name, O Most High, to show forth thy loving kindness in the morning, and thy faithfulness every night. Upon an instrument of 10 strings, and upon the psaltery, upon the harp, with a psalm sound. For thou, Lord, hast made me glad through thy work. I will triumph in the works of thy hands. O Lord, how great are thy works, and thy thoughts are very deep. Jeremiah. Am I a God at hand, saith the Lord, and not a God afar off? Can any hide himself in secret places that I shall not see him? Saith the Lord. Do not I fill heaven and earth, saith the Lord. Psalms. O Lord, thou hast searched me and known me. Thou hast beset me behind and before, and laid thy hand upon me. Whither shall I go from thy spirit? Or whither shall I flee from thy presence? If I ascend up into heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there. If I take the wings of the morning, and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there shall my hand lead me, and thy right hand shall hold me. Jeremiah. The Lord hath appeared of old unto me, saying, Yea, I have loved thee with an everlasting love. Therefore, with loving kindness have I drawn thee.
As announced in the explanatory note, I'll read correlative passages from the Christian Science textbook, Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures, by Mary Baker Eddy. God is love. More than this, we cannot ask. Higher, we cannot look. Farther, we cannot go. The starting point of divine science is that God, Spirit, is all in all, and that there is no other might nor mind, that God is love, and therefore he is divine principle. Divine love is infinite, therefore all that really exists is in and of God, and manifests his love. The depth, breadth, height, might, majesty, and glory of infinite love fill all space. That is enough. Who hath found finite love or life sufficient to meet the demands of human want and woe, to still the desires, to satisfy the aspirations? Infinite mind cannot be limited to a finite form, or mind would lose its infinite character as inexhaustible love, eternal life, omnipotent truth. Human theories are helpless to make man harmonious or immortal, since he is so already according to Christian science. Our only need is to know this and reduce to practice the real man's divine principle, love.
1 John. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear, because fear hath torment. He that feareth is not made perfect in love. 1 Corinthians. Though I speak with tongues of men and of angels, and have not charity, I am become as sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. And though I have all faith, so that I could remove mountains, and have not charity, I am nothing. For the kingdom of God is not in word, but in power. What will you? Shall I come unto you with a rod, or in love, and in the spirit of meekness? Matthew. And Jesus went forth, and saw a great multitude, and was moved with compassion toward them, and he healed their sick. And a woman, Luke, and a woman having an issue of blood 12 years, which had spent all her living upon physicians, neither could be healed of any, came behind him and touched the border of his garment, and immediately her issue of blood stanched. And Jesus said, Who touched me? When all denied, Peter and they that were with him said, Master, the multitude throng thee and press thee, and sayest thou, who touched me? And Jesus said, Somebody hath touched me, for I perceive that virtue is gone out of me. And when the woman saw that she was not hid, she came trembling, and falling down before him, she declared unto him before all the people for what cause she had touched him, and how she was healed immediately. And he said unto her, Daughter, be of good comfort. Thy faith hath made thee whole. Go in peace.
The divinity of the Christ was made manifest in the humanity of Jesus. Jesus established what he said by demonstration, thus making his acts of higher importance than his words. He proved what he taught. This is the science of Christianity. Jesus proved the principle which heals the sick and casts out error to be divine. Few, however, except his students, understood in the least his teachings and their glorious proofs, namely that life, truth, and love, the principle of this unacknowledged science, destroy all error, evil, disease, and death. Every trial of our faith in God makes us stronger. The more difficult seems the material condition to be overcome by Spirit, the stronger should be our faith, and the purer our love. The Apostle John says, There is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear. He that feareth is not made perfect in love. Here is a definite and inspired proclamation of Christian science. Christian scientific practice begins with Christ's keynote of harmony, be not afraid. The tender word and Christian encouragement of an invalid, pitiful patience with his fears and the removal of them, are better than hecatombs of gushing theories, stereotyped borrowed speeches, and the doling of arguments, which are but so many parodies on legitimate Christian science, aflame with divine love. The power of Christian science and divine love is omnipotent. It is indeed adequate to unclasp the hold and to destroy disease, sin, and death.
1 Corinthians. Charity suffereth long, and is kind. Zechariah. Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, saying, Execute true judgment, and show mercy and compassion to every man to his brother. And oppress not the widow, nor the fatherless, the stranger, nor the poor. 2 Corinthians. He which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully. Every man according as his purpose in his heart. So let him give, not grudgingly or of necessity, for God loveth a cheerful giver. And God is able to make all grace abound toward you, that ye always having all sufficiency in all things may abound up to every good work. 1 Thessalonians. We give thanks to God always for you all, making mention of you in our prayers, remembering without ceasing your work of faith and labor of love and patience of hope in our Lord Jesus Christ, in the sight of God and our Father.
The rich in spirit help the poor in one grand brotherhood, all having the same principle or father. And blessed is that man who seeth his brother's need and supplieth it, seeking his own in another's good. Love giveth to the least spiritual idea might, immortality, and goodness, which shine through all as the blossom shines through the bud. All the varied expressions of God reflect health, holiness, immortality, infinite life, truth, and love. The poor suffering heart needs its rightful nutriment, such as peace, patience in tribulation, and a priceless sense of the dear Father's loving kindness. Giving does not impoverish us in the service of our Maker, neither does withholding enrich us. We have strength in proportion to our apprehension of the truth, and our strength is not lessened by giving utterance to truth. It is proverbial that Florence Nightingale and other philanthropists engaged in humane labors have been able to undergo without sinking fatigues and exposures which ordinary people could not endure. The explanation lies in the support which they derive from the divine law rising above the human. The spiritual demand, quelling the material, supplies energy and endurance surpassing all other aids, and forestalls the penalty which our beliefs would attach to our best deeds. Constant toil, deprivations, exposures, and all untoward conditions, if without sin, can be experienced without suffering. Whatever it is your duty to do, you can do without harm to yourself. We walk in the footsteps of truth and love by following the example of our Master in the understanding of divine metaphysics. Christianity is the basis of true healing. Whatever holds human thought in line with unself love receives directly the divine power.
1 Corinthians. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, doth not behave itself unseemingly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in truth, beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. Mark. And the apostles gathered themselves together unto Jesus, and told him all things, both what they had done and what they had taught. And he came to Capernaum, and being in the house, he asked them, What was it that ye disputed among yourselves by the way? But they held their peace, and for the way they had disputed among themselves, who should be the greatest. And he sat down and called the 12, and saith unto them, If any man desire to be first, the same shall be last of all, and servant of all. And he took a child, and set him in the midst of them. And when he had taken him in his arms, he saith unto them, Whosoever shall receive one such children in my name receiveth me. And whosoever shall receive me receiveth not me, but him that sent me. John. As the Father hath loved me, so have I loved you. Continue ye in my love. If ye keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments, and abide in his love. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you.
Pride, envy, or jealousy seems on most occasions to be the master of ceremonies, ruling out primitive Christianity. With one Father, even God, the whole family of man would be brethren, and with one mind, and that God were good, the brotherhood of man would consist of love and truth, and have unity of principle and spiritual power, which constitute divine science. The spiritual sense of truth must be gained before truth can be understood. This sense is assimilated only as we are honest, unselfish, loving, and meek. To keep the commandments of our Master and follow his example is our proper debt to him, and the only worthy evidence of our gratitude for all that he has done. Simply asking that we may love God will never make us love him, but the longing to be better and holier, expressed in daily watchfulness and in striving to assimilate more of the divine character, will mold and fashion us anew until we awake in his likeness. Meekness and charity have divine authority.
Lamentations. It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed, because his compassion fail not. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. It is good that a man both hope and quietly wait for the salvation of the Lord. 1 John. In this was manifested the love of God towards us, because that God sent his only begotten Son into the world, that we might live through him. Mark. Jesus, when he came out, saw much people, and was moved with compassion toward them, because they were as sheep, not having a shepherd. And he began to teach them many things. And there came a leper to him, beseeching him, and kneeling down to him, and saying unto him, If thou wilt, thou canst make me clean. And Jesus, moved with compassion, put forth his hand and touched him, and saith unto him, I will, be thou clean. And as soon as he had spoken, immediately the leprosy departed from him, and he was cleansed. 1 Corinthians. Charity never faileth.
Divine love always has met and always will meet every human need. It is not well to imagine that Jesus demonstrated the divine power to heal only for a select number or for a limited period of time, since to all mankind and in every hour, divine love supplies all good. The miracle of grace is no miracle to love. Love for God and man is the true incentive in both healing and teaching. Love inspires, illumines, designates, and leads the way. If the scientist reaches his patient through divine love, the healing work will be accomplished at one visit, and the disease will vanish into its native nothingness like dew before the morning sunshine. If the student adheres strictly to the teachings of Christian Science and ventures not to break its rules, he cannot fail of success in healing. Hold perpetually this thought, that it is the spiritual idea, the Holy Ghost, and Christ, which enables you to demonstrate with scientific certainty the rule of healing, based upon its divine principle, love, underlying, overlying, and encompassing all true being.
1 Corinthians. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away. For now we see through a glass, darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, and then shall I know even as also I am known. And now abideth faith, hope, charity, these three, but the greatest of these is charity. Ephesians. Unto every one of us is given grace according to the measure of the gift of Christ, till we all come in the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God, unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ. 2 Corinthians. Finally, brethren, farewell. Be perfect, be of good comfort, be of one mind, live in peace, and the God of love and peace shall be with you.
When we fully understand our relation to the divine, we can have no other mind but His, no other love, wisdom, or truth, no other sense of life, and no consciousness of the existence of matter or error. In divine science, man is the true image of God. The Christ-like understanding of scientific being and divine healing includes a perfect principle and idea, perfect God and perfect man as the basis of thought and demonstration. Glory be to God, and peace to the struggling hearts. Christ hath rolled away the stone from the door of human hope and faith, and through the revelation and demonstration of life in God, hath elevated them to possible at-one-ment with the spiritual idea of man and his divine principle, love. The vital part, the heart and soul of Christian Science is love. Let's sing hymn number 178. Love is life's true crown and glory. Love the splendor of the light. Truly is God's counsel gentle. Truly all his ways are bright. Jesus knew the law of kindness, healing mind and heart of blindness, and in heavenly wisdom taught. Holy works of love he wrought. Hymn 178. There is no life, truth, intelligence, nor substance in matter. All is infinite mind and its infinite manifestation. For God is all in all. Spirit is immortal truth. Matter is mortal error. Spirit is the real and eternal. Matter is the unreal and temporal. Spirit is God, and man is his image and likeness. Therefore, man is not material, he is spiritual.
And for all of Scripture from 1 John, behold, what manner of love the Father hath bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of God. Therefore the world knoweth us not, because it knew him not. Beloved, now are we the sons of God, and it doth not yet appear what we shall be, but we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him. For we shall see him as he is. And every man that hath this hope in him purifieth himself, even as he is pure.
Neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of God, which is in Christ Jesus, our Lord. Amen.
So nice to see you here. Sweet of you. Oh, that's sweet. No, we don't have anything. That's very sweet of you. Oh, you sure? Maybe you would take it for some other people. Yeah, but we don't really have a food kind of venue here. But we don't have a kitchen or anything. Hi, good to see you. Well, okay. Let me take it then. Let me introduce So, Anita, this is Paula Gloria Barton.
Nice to have you here. It's beautiful. I love your.
Oh, well, let me tell you, this
Does
is
it open?
this is
What's a little purse?
this is where I keep my false tooth. I had a holistic dentistry show on, teeth, and I spent like $5,000 on all this stuff on my teeth, and it finally fell out. And then in India, I got a $5 piece of plastic because I was there to study how Jesus did the healings in the south of India.
Because wasn't Jesus in India?
Yeah, that's what I've heard. That's what, and the South, the black South instead of the Aryan North. So I was telling Jean yesterday that my great grandmother was a closet Christian Scientist. Her son, my grandfather, got a healing, and then when the Catholic priest spoke against it, she was devastated. So my mother said she kept all the books hidden.
Oh.
Yeah, but I was just here for healing because I have a tumor in my breast, and I thought maybe I would find some people.
Are you just visiting, or do you live?
No, I'm actually originally from Berkeley, California, and then I was in New York City doing public access television shows, and then dentistry show. Then I went to India for 4 years, and then I came back, and then I did...
Excuse me.
Yes, sorry. And then, would you like anything to eat, everybody? I brought cake.
Oh, that is so sweet of you.
Yeah.
So do you live here now in Woodstock?
Yeah. Basically, I produce shows on low-level radioactive stones for healing, and then viewers on YouTube told me about the essential oil of marijuana. So it took me 2 years to find that oil. At first I thought marijuana was bad. Then I looked at all the scientific studies. And then when I finally found it, I fell in love with my husband as he was arguing in front of Donald Williams in Kingston Court with him and his son. And that's how I came to Woodstock. We got married at St. Mark's Church. But because we were marijuana activists, they weren't very nice to us at the end.
Oh, how long have you been here?
Oh, I guess 5 years, but mostly in Manhattan, but now I'm up here.
Okay.
And I wanted to learn more about Mary Baker Eddy and the history.
Oh, the reading. Have you been to the reading room?
Is that where I met Jean yesterday?
Yeah.
Because I was in the library looking at a book on electromagnetism with Robert Becker. And then I came across the street and it was open, because oftentimes when I come by here it wasn't open. Right. So I couldn't say anything. But he talks, in the 50s he was doing studies that there's a science to this. And now the smart meters are happening.
You might want to come Wednesday at 5:30. We have a meeting and we have some readings from Science and Health Bible, and then we talk about our experiences, and sometimes we
I'd
give
like to do
testimonies.
that. I'd like to find out how her mother was healed from polio.
Yes.
Yeah. No.
So do come back, and
5:30. Will you be there?
It's right over there.
Okay, great.
Yes. Everyone has some interesting healings through
And
report.
you, what were your stories? Did you have a healing?
Oh yes, I've had, and you know, it isn't just physical healings. It's
course.
healings of decisions that you make, and relationships,
Of course.
and
Of course.
protection and safety.
Right.
You know, it's your whole life.
Were you brought up a Christian Scientist?
Yes,
were?
sort of haphazardly in
I'm
early
Pam.
days.
Pam, nice to meet you.
She's very interested in learning more about Christian Science.
About
I told
the
her to come
healings.
to
Great.
Wednesday.
Good.
Or
She said
the
Wednesday at
reading
5:30. I
room.
guess Jean will show me around. She did yesterday. I was reading a really important book called The Body Electric by Robert Becker in the library. And I'd like more people to know this book because of the smart meters and the Wi-Fi in the schools.
But you can borrow a book from the reading room about Mary Baker Eddy's life.
Yeah.
That's a,
Yep.
that's a
I
very,
definitely
very
want to
good
find
one
it
there.
because, I heard she had quite a lot of obstacles in her
Oh,
life.
indeed.
Actually, you'd probably like Mary Baker Eddy, Christian Healer. That's the one that you would like.
Yes,
Really?
yes.
Yes,
Okay.
it's all about her the
Okay.
healing she did, which
Yes.
was very impressive.
Who was singing?
Um,
Oh, that was so beautiful.
oh, thank
On
you.
Charity.
I mean, I didn't have anything to do with it, but I did manage to get it on the right track.
Oh, good. Thank you.
It always helps.
What's your name again?
Pam.
Pam. And your name?
Nita.
Nita.
Well, it'll be great to see you on Wednesday.
Okay. 5:30. Okay.
Oh, I'd like you to meet Dave. Dave is a Christian Science teacher and
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I'd like you to meet Paula.
Hi, Dave Robertson. Nice to see you. Nice.
And so she came in the reading room yesterday.
Uh-huh.
We had a talk. So.
Oh, good, good.
Well, I was so impressed because you really understood that experience I had in Kashmir, where I went to a holy place for Muslims, and the man who I thought was a guard said, "Are you a Christian?" And I was kind of uptight because they were warning Americans not to go in Kashmir then. But I really had wanted to go for so many years, and I'd been to India about 13 times
Oh, my.
over a period of 25 years. And my final time, I said, I'm finished with India. And then this master in the South said, please reconsider. And he had the compelling evidence that Jesus was in India, which is a very controversial topic. I didn't know then. So when I went to Kashmir, and I said, well, yeah, I'm a Christian, and he just beams into a smile, and he's so happy, and they love Jesus too, and I thought, wow, I took a risk to, I could have said, well, no, I'm not, or whatever, but I just said the truth, and then, and you got it, because most people, there's such animosity going on in the world with destroy Islam, and I thought that's not very Christian.
No, it's sure not. Well, what a delight to hear that
Yeah.
story. Wonderful. Yeah.
So I'm here for healing. I don't know how they're doing.
You heard about it all today.
Well, my
Just having
grandmother,
that sense of
my
love.
great grandmother was a closet Christian Scientist, and a healer had healed her son, my grandfather. And when the Catholic priest spoke poorly about it, she had to go underground.
Yeah.
So that's what I heard from my mother. So I kind of have known.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So did she ever tell you about this healing and how it came about?
No. Then I got involved in so many things, and somebody told me Mary Baker Eddy was actually a medium, that she could bring in divine energy, and that the reading rooms were about readings.
Yeah.
working.
Spiritual readings, right? Yeah.
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 I don't know, do you believe that? Some people say that's not true.
Well,
I guess
I've never
each-
had, belief is whatever anyone wants. So I've never had that experience. But I don't think that in the sense of a medium calling past spirits forward and so on, she had any interest in that. But certainly bringing the sense of a divine energy into our lives.
Well, that's one
and that-
interpretation of mediumship.
Right.
Some mediums would be a little offended to say that that's what they're doing to us. So.
Yeah.
But I do know, what I love is that it's all there, it's all perfect, it's all
Yes.
correct, and so you just step into that correctness.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
I feel
usually-
I got a little off track because I was fighting the banks. You know,
But that,
I learned a lot.
but that is the answer to your question, to step into that sense of
Right.
perfection. Yeah, right now, right around me, everything
Yeah.
I know really is me. Oh,
What's happening now?
We're gonna have a corporate meeting of members.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, and I'll see you at 5:30 on Wednesday.
Well, good, so yeah, just delighted, nice to see you. David Robinson. David, seeing you.
And Kurt.
I forgot yours too.
Paula Gloria. Thank you.
Have a good day, Paula.
You made my day.
Oh, you made mine. You made mine, really. Thank you.
Okay, dear. Come anytime.
I'm gonna
What
come.
you're doing.
Well, it's not often open when I go.
I know. I'm
What-
there Monday, tomorrow 1 to 3, Friday and Saturday 1 to 3, and it's open Wednesday 3 to 5.
Well, it'll be when it.
But if you
when it'll
never,
be.
if you want to talk, call and leave a message and
Okay.
make arrangements.
Okay, Jean White.
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, here we are at Provisions of Woodstock, and this is a different delicatessen. And what's so nice is when people want to help out those who don't have money, they buy. How do they? They buy an extra sandwich, I guess, and they put this on, and it says "Happy Lunch, have a great day." So. Isn't this a beautiful way to express charity? Why are you a different
Well,
delegate?
my partner's a butcher and a baker and a chef, so we bring in local pasture-raised, antibiotic and hormone-free meats, and we butcher them all in-house.
Wow.
And we make our own bread every day, make our own mozzarella cheese. Everything is made here, so all the pickling, all the salads, everything that we can possibly do in-house, we do here.
And can you explain this intriguing bulletin board, which is what brought me in?
Well, we feel like there's a lot of dichotomy in Woodstock, that there are a lot of haves and a lot of have-nots. And we thought that by providing food for people who couldn't always afford it, that it would help break down some of the barriers. So this allows people in the community to help support people who are unable to pay for sandwiches. We cover the rest of the cost. They put in $5 for a sandwich or $2 for water or coffee, and then we cover the rest of the cost. And then people can come in without stigma and offer us something. They might have a sandwich from the board, and then there's no questions asked and there's no conversation about it.
It's so beautiful. Thank you. And what do you what's your specialty here? Because
Well-
I'm going to pull one off. What should I get?
I think that, the best thing, because all of our meat is sourced locally and antibiotic and hormone-free, and because my partner butchers we sell, it means that we have, I think, the best meat that you can buy. So any of our pork sandwiches, any of our chicken or our beef, they're all fabulous. So our best-selling sandwich is the O. Henry, which is our house-made mozzarella on the focaccia bread that we make every day with roast chicken and macerated balsamic tomatoes. That's probably the town favorite.
The town favorite. Kurt Bowl told me that the pork one was good, so I think I'm going to try that.
And then every Tuesday we do pastrami for the locals. So we do a Reuben every Tuesday. We make our own pastrami. We cure it in-house, and then we smoke it and have it every Tuesday, pastrami Reuben all day long.
That is so beautiful. And what's your name?
I'm Emily.
Thank you.
And my partner is...
That's your partner?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.